It was 3 in the morning when a man in Toronto climbed into his car, drove 14 miles across the city, and brutally killed his mother, all while he was supposedly fast asleep. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. This is the unbelievable and very real story of Kenneth Parks, though. Man who came to be known as the Sleepwalking Killer. On May 24, 1987, Kenneth Parks was a seemingly ordinary 23-year-old man living a quiet life in a suburb of Toronto, Canada. To his friends and family, he was a gentle giant, known for his calm and non-violent personality. But beneath the surface, Ken was drowning. He had a serious gambling problem and had amassed significant debts, a secret he tried desperately to hide from his wife and her family, with whom he was very close. He was under immense stress, dealing with financial ruin and the pressure of keeping his life from falling apart. That night, after a long day, Ken fell asleep on the couch in his living room, exhausted and defeated. But his night was far from over. Sometime in the dead of night, while his wife slept soundly upstairs, Ken got up. He put on his shoes, walked out the front door, and got into his car. He then drove the 14 miles to the home of his Barbara Ann and Dennis Woods. He let himself in with a key they had given him, went to the kitchen, and grabbed a tire iron he had brought with him. What happened next was a scene of unimaginable horror. He attacked his mother-in-law, Barbara, killing her. He then turned on his father-in-law, Dennis, choking him and leaving him for dead. Miraculously, Dennis survived. After the brutal assault, Ken got back in his car and drove straight to a nearby police station. A walk in his hands covered in blood, and said the words that would baffle law enforcement and legal experts for years to come. "I think I have just killed 2 people. The problem was, he had no memory of doing it. He remembered feeling immense pressure and then nothing. He couldn't recall driving, couldn't remember attacking his in-law, and had no idea how he had gotten to the police station. The first thing he remembered was seeing the horrified faces of the officers in front of him. He was arrested and charged with murder and attempted murder. The case against Kenneth Parks seemed open and shut. He had confessed, albeit in a state of confusion. He had emoted the financial stress and his fear of his in-laws discovering his gambling debts. The evidence was all there. But his defense team proposed a theory so radical, so unbelievable, that it seemed to belong in fiction, not a courtroom. They argued that Kenneth Parks was not guilty by reason of automatism. In simpler terms, he was sleepwalking. His lawyers claimed he was in a state of known insane automatism, a condition where a person can perform complex actions, like driving a car or even committing a violent act, without any conscious awareness or control. They argued that he was, for all intents and purposes, a machine operating without a driver. To prove this extraordinary claim, Ken was subjected to a battery of medical and psychological tests. Sleep specialists were brought in to analyze his brain activity. They conducted sleep studies, EEG scans, and extensive psychological evaluations. The results were astounding. The experts found that Ken had a history of sleepwalking, as did other members of his family. His brainwave patterns were highly irregular, consistent with someone who suffers from a severe sleep disorder. The combination of his deep-rooted stress, sleep deprivation, and a genetic predisposition to parasomnia created a perfect storm. The experts concluded that it was entirely plausible, even probably that he had committed the entire act while in a deep, unconscious sleep. The jury was faced with an impossible decision. Could a man commit such a violent and targeted crime without knowing what he was doing? Could a man commit such a violent and targeted crime without knowing what he was doing? The prosecution argued it was a convenient excuse, a desperate attempt to get away with murder. But the defense's scientific evidence was compelling. They painted a picture of a man whose brain had essentially hijacked his body, turning him into an unwilling puppet. After hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict that shocked the legal world. Kenneth Parks was acquitted of all charges. The judge ruled that he had acted involuntarily, without intent. He was not a monster. He was a victim of a rare and terrifying medical condition. Following his acquittal, Kenneth Parks was a free man. He was able to return to his life, though it was a life forever changed by the tragic events of that night. The case became a landmark in legal history, setting a precedent for the sleepwalking defense in courtrooms around the world. It sparked intense debate, and pushed the scientific community to dive deeper into the mysteries of sleep and consciousness. It forced us to ask ourselves, how much control do we really have when we close our eyes at night? The story of Kenneth Parks remains a chilling reminder of the dark and uncharted territories of the human mind. So, could you ever commit a crime without even knowing it? What do you think? Was Kenneth Parks truly a victim of his own sleeping mind? Or was there more to the story that we'll never know? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to uncover more shocking stories from history, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching!